So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to integrate a table into a Pages 2009 document that you're working on. So here's my document. It is double spaced, and let's say I want to put my table right in between these two paragraphs. To do that, I'm simply going to go up to the top here and click Table, which automatically sorts and inserts a table here, and it also brings up the inspector for formatting my table. Okay, so let's say that this table is the one I'm going to use for temperature. So I have my time point in minutes there. I have my 0°C glucose in milligrams per deciliter. And I have my 25 Celsius glucose in milligrams per deciliter. But the problem here is that I didn't just have these two data points. I needed 40, 60, 80, and 100, so I need to add 4 more on. Well, that's easy enough. I just come over here to the inspector for the table, and I change the column count to include those other 4. So I type in 7, I hit enter, and it automatically formats so that I now have 7 equally spaced header cells. So I can add in 40C, glucose in milligrams per deciliter. Okay, I'm going to copy that. I'm just going to paste it. Then change it to the correct temperature, 60. Change it to 80, and then 100. Alright, and then let's say I decide now I don't need these additional rows here. I just need one row because I'm going to do 10 minutes and then my glucose amounts. So I can delete those rows simply by clicking 1 here in the inspector, and now I've got my one row. If I want to increase that height, I just click over here on the inspector and I'll put it right around there. Makes it look pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to type in my time in 10 minutes. Let's say that at 0°C I had 250 milligrams per deciliter, same at 25. Let's say that I had 500 at 40, 1000 at 60, 100 at 80, and 0 at 100. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do with this table is I want to format everything here to align in the center. Okay, and so to do that I just come up here to my primary ribbon. I click here to make sure it centers horizontally, and then I click this to make sure it centers vertically. And I now have a nice looking table that has the appropriate titles here in the header column. And again, if I want this header column to be centered as well, I'll click this and this to make sure it's vertically and horizontally centered. And let's say that I want to take that font size down just a little bit. I'll just come up here and I'm going to take it down to size 10. Okay. Alright, and I can resize this if I need to as well to size 11, just to make it all look a little more uniform. Okay, so there we go. So I've got my table, but you'll remember there's other things we need to do with these items. We don't just want the table to be in the paper. We also need to have a figure legend with that, and that's going to be accomplished by inserting a text box. And I can find that up here in the what I would call ribbon of pages. So I'm going to click text box and it automatically inserts it. Now you'll notice it's not doing exactly what we want it to do, and that's okay. We're going to get to formatting that in just a second. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just type in whatever text I want. So I want this to say Figure 1, determining optimal temperature of lactase. Okay, and then I'm going to click to select the text box as a whole for several reasons. I want to resize it, and up here where it says floating, I'm going to click on this icon to the right of that and choose None. This sets it to where the text box is technically floating on top of the text as opposed to being in line with the text. This is going to assist me with editing some of the formatting issues I experienced before. So I've now made my text box floating, and I've moved it over here right below the table. I'm going to size it to where it's the size of the whole table. I'm going to click on the text to make it bold, and I'm going to decrease the font size of this down to 10, just like I did with my header row. It's going to make it fit a little nicer in the context of my entire paper. Okay, now I've got a nice table along with its accompanying figure legend. If I want to put an extra space between that figure along with the next paragraph, I can. And now I have a nice table with its figure legend integrated between my two paragraphs in Pages. Alright, so that's pretty much all you need to do to integrate a table into Pages. If you want to move this table, I highly recommend just cutting it, and then you can just place it wherever else you'd like to place it inside the paper by pasting it. And you can just drag your text box down to be realigned with it. All right, so that is the integration of a table into Pages 09.